All right, so thanks everyone for joining me on this morning live. I was having a little coffee earlier. I was saying, how you doing, Imran? Good to see you on the live. Hopefully you've been watching the cricket. It's not been as good performances that we want, but we'll get to talk about cricket another time. What I want to do on this live is to go through my top 5 performances of the track and field weekend. We saw some really good performances all across the board. We had some continental tours, Grand Slam track, you name it, Götzis. They all got onto my thinking for what's the top 5 performances of the weekend. And I'll start at the Grand Slam track. I think I have a tie for what I consider the 5th best performance of the week. And if you don't like what I'm saying, drop it in the comments, let me know. We'll talk about it for sure. This is just how I personally felt about some of these performances. So I want to start with Kung Fu Kenny Bednarek, the Olympic silver medalist over 200 meters. This is what, 6 win in a row at the Grand Slam track. He's certainly making it that league his own. Stellar performances. A 1995 in his 200-meter outing. Not great performances by Kung Fu Kenny. That's like a walk in the park for him. But I was more pleased with his performance over the 100 meters to close out the show in 1986. Great performance for him. That's a PB for him. And when we put everything into perspective, at this moment, it's hard to see Kung Fu Kenny not making it on the medal podium, potentially in both 100 and 200 meters. We still have some time to work that through, but Kenny, really good, looking good, healthy, fit, body type, great for sprinting right now, and he's setting up the season really well. Long season, as we all know, but good performance from Kenny. I want to say a joint performance for me from the weekend would be also Paulino's performance over both the 400 meters and the 200 meters there at the Grand Slam track. She, Olympic champion, setting up herself to be in the all-time great conversation. If she can stack up some more medals, they probably dip some more under 49 seconds and getting us close to very low 48s again. I think stellar performance, good competition as usual, but you're thinking about a 49.12, that's a season best for her. And she followed that up with what I thought was a convincing 200 meters as well, 22.42. You can't say much about how well her season is shaping up, and you wouldn't put it past her to be in the conversation again, usually coming into the World Championships. Yeah, Imran, it's good stuff for PSG there. I don't particularly like PSG ownership, but that's a different story. I think they dominated the final. West Indies, I'm not quite sure what they were doing yesterday too. They're probably about 30 or 40 runs short on that pitch. And in the first one, they were totally outclassed. But I'm keeping it on the track and field, and I'll get back to other sports as we progress in another live. Number 4 for me would be Zakithi Nene's performance there at the Kipkeino Classic, going 43.74 seconds. Now, altitude, we'll talk about that. But what I want to say about this is whatever calculation we would make about this performance based on the altitude and this assistance there, we're looking at a guy that's trending closer to maybe a second off his personal best or somewhere around there, in the mix for sure. And that's a massive performance that will all go well for his season, I think, and also for South Africa's chances in their 4x4. And maybe he can now start to step up and make sure that he's in the mix for an Olympic, for a World Championship final, and who knows, it could be even better. Now, Nairobi, you're going to get lightning fast times in altitude at nearly 6,000 feet. What that does for sprinters, it reduces the drag, so you get a kind of slight boost. Any kind of calculation between a 100 and 400 meter, you can get anywhere from a 0.1 to 0.3 second performance edge compared to sea level. That's the rough calculation, back of the hand calculation. As you know, once you get higher than 400 meters, then you start to have this kind of oxygen problem there. And so he's getting some help there from the altitude there. But the performance, no question in mind for me, really good performance. And Whatever we make of that performance from Nene, I think it's still it is a sub 40 4 performance regardless. It could be a 44.9, it could be 43.9 rather, or a 43.8-ish performance. So it's still a tremendous performance, probably still better than the performance that Jackery Patterson did some weeks ago in Miami for the Grand Slam. So he gets into my number 4 performance of the week. At number 3, I'm going with what some people are calling the favorite for the 100-meter title already. I'm not quite sure I'm ready to say that, but I'm going to go to Jefferson-Wooden, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, Olympic bronze medalist over there, running a fabulous PB in the 200 meters ahead of the likes of the Olympic champion there, Gabby Thomas, 21.99. Outclassed the field. Her performances at Grand Slam is showcasing some really good stuff. And it was even more special when she got to the 100 meters yesterday, skyrocketing up the all-time list, 10.73, 1.4 win, destroying everybody else in the field. It wasn't even close. Smooth running. Great stuff. How are you doing, Papi and Boss? Good morning to you too. I'm just having, doing a little coffee live. I was showcasing, I don't know if you're a coffee guy. I've been trying this geisha coffee here from Peru. My wife just brought back for me, and it's pretty good. Just rounding up a morning live. I was just like relaxing, thinking like just coming on and do my top 5 performances. But Jefferson-Wooden, you can't count her out now. I think she's definitely amongst the favorites. We'll have to wait to see as the next couple of weeks progress, what we start to get better from Julian Alfred and the likes of the other athletes who will round into shape. But right now you can't underscore how important this kind of performance she's been doing. Dominant, professional, the woman from Georgetown, South Carolina, shout out to South Carolina, spent some time there back in the day. And yeah, I like what I'm seeing there. Anytime an athlete runs a 10.7, you go sub 10.8, you have to look up. And this type of form in the season, you imagine it will only get better. It should only get better. And I don't know what that will take her. Is she going to edge towards a sub 10.7 at some point? It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I'll get to my other couple performances. Brian Level, I thought Level was good. I thought Level's performance overall at the Grand Slam was decent. He got onto the scene, made some money for himself there. There's a lot left there for Brian, I think, in terms of what he can do. I always liked him as an athlete ever since his Edwin Allen days. The thing that's hard to know is where his ceiling is, right? I think he's responding well to training. He's gone sub 20 already for 200 meters. I think there's a space, especially in the 200 meters in the Jamaica context, for him to dominate. There's no one really showcasing any kind of levels that would make him not make a team. There's a lot to do there. I still think he has a lot of weaknesses in terms of execution in the 100 meters, but they can iron that out. He should be a guy that could get into the 19.7s. I would imagine. Can he do it this year? That would be preferable. If he would do it this year, that would probably get him into a final. Not going to compete for a medal if the likes are in good shape, if Tebogo comes back healthy, if Noah is there, Kung Fu Kenny for sure. But he can, who knows what Zarnel might do there's a number of athletes, but he can wait in the line in a sense. He kind of start to show some stuff there. I think he can be a 9.8 guy too, for sure. Consistently somewhere there. It's just about the execution. He still has some growing to do, but I like him. I don't know what you think. I think to come there to do that, it's not his first rodeo at Franklin Field. He came there, as a junior athlete to run at Penn Relays. The conditions weren't the greatest for sprinting. Everybody had to kind of deal with that as well. But I'm hoping that he can improve, and by the time you get to the World Championships, the Jamaican National Championships, into the World Championships, he's firing on all cylinders. We need him to fire on all cylinders. Morning Dean, the dream. Hopefully you're doing well. You know, as we say, third time's a charm. I came on early on the live, and I guess my equipment wasn't plugged in the right way, and no one was hearing me for a good 7 minutes or so. But yeah, so I've just revealed my top, I'm going over my top 5 performances for the week. At this stage, again, just to do a recap, number 5, I went with a tie for Kung Fu Kenny and Paulino there at Grand Slam. Number 4, I went to Nene's performance at the Kipkino Classic. Anywhere you put it, I think it's a sub 44 performance rather, even with altitude. So I think he's setting up himself, and I like what I'm seeing there in terms of this could be a big year for him. I know in the 400 meters it can get ultra competitive, but I think if you start dipping at the mid to high 48s, 43s rather, you should be in the mix. You got to probably get it dropping down further to be guaranteed a position, but we'll wait to see. I thought he was good. And then at number 3, I think you can't count out Jefferson-Wooden right now. She's been having the season for sprinting so far. PB 200, 1073. That gets her up what Christina runs time. That's elite category. Young, good age, good cycle to come forward. I think she's going to be in a great position. All right, so I'm going to go to my top 2 performances of the week, and I think it's hard not to underscore, to put this, for us to dismiss these performances rather. At number 2, I'm going to go to Sander Skotheim. The Norwegian guy just announced himself at, as we know, the big meeting in Götzis there. It's a big multi-event meeting, standout performance in the men's decathlon. At 23 years of age, I kind of link him with Leonor Borger as well from Germany. Those are some guys that could potentially start to get into the 9,000 meter club. 9,000 points club rather. 8,909 points. Ridiculous movement from him there. That pushes him up on the all-time list to tie with Lepage. I don't know where to start here. I think when you look at the performance or the breakdown, he had a PB in the 100. He also had a PB in the discus, but there's areas for improvement there. Areas. His long jump was really good, 8 meters 6, just behind Ihama there, who is a world-class long jumper, regardless of his multi-event status. You know, he ran a decent 1,500 meters to get him over the mix, to make sure he got into that all-time position. But you're thinking about moving up there, right behind Norberger's 896 there, tying with Lepage. I think there's a possibility that if he can move on and get better this season, who knows? I don't know if he'll get to that 9,000 meter club this year. It's kind of a, but it is possible. It is possible. And then, you know, what happens there? I'm not saying he's going to be in contention for the world record. I think that might be a little bit pushing it, but I like to see those big performances. Anytime an athlete can go 8-9, it's elite status there. You know, only Ashton Ethan a few times did 9,000 and change. Roman Seberly, you know, David Warner. Those are some big names there. Dvorak, I think, too, if my memory serves me correctly. So the 9,000 meter club is only Warner, Ashton Ethan, Seberle, and Kevin Meyer. So there is a space for him to get to as well, I think. So that was a big performance for Sander. I like the kid. I think he has a lot of potential. It beat a really a good field as well. It wasn't all smooth sailing there. There's Ihama was there, Norberger was there, even though he finished a little bit down. David Warner was there. Garland from the United States performed really well too with a 8,626 rather. So good stuff there. I think that for me was the number 2 performance of the week. And I'm going to stay right there. We're going to round into the number 1 performance, because there's no way you can deliver a performance like this and not shut it up to the best performance for the entire track and field weekend. And it goes with the American Anna Hall. Good to see her back healthy. Good to see her back moving. Anna Hall delivered what I thought is something really special. Everybody would say this. This is nothing new. 7,032 points. That ties her with Carolina Clough, only behind the great Jackie Joyner-Kersee. I don't think anybody, I'm not sure she can get to that level. You know, people have tried to get to the Kersee level. That's a different level. We can talk about that 7,291 point. But 732 moves her up to the all-time list there. Ridiculous performance. PBs galore when you look at the breakdown. PB in the high jump, PB in the shot put, PB I think in the javelin throw as well. You know, going 13:19 in the hurdles, 195 in the high jump, 14:86 there. I think there's more in the shot put to give as well for her when I saw that stuff. 800 meters, 2:01 as well. She's incredible athlete, Anna Hall, that is. A couple of years ago, there was like the big clamor around whether she would deliver, and she never got the medal, you know, that she needed. Then she got hurt. But I think Anna Hall is just next level. The all-time list here is a substantial list. I think it's hard for me to see anybody going to the Jackie Joyner-Kersee record. It's been around for such a long time, 7,291. But it would be great if someone were to break it. At one point we thought Clough could have been in the sport long enough to do something, but Carolina left the sport early. She had other priorities as well. But Anna Hall here ahead now of Nafitayam, who is also a superb all-time great heptathlon as well, who was at what, 7:13. You know, the 7,000 meter club is just what, 4 women, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women, I think. It's not a lot. So we could look at Wooden's performance, you could look at the speed on the track, but I'm telling you, Sander Skotheim, second best performance of the week for me. Anna Hall, way out there as the best performance of all at track and field this weekend. Nothing came close to that. Tremendous athlete. And we saw her a couple of weeks ago doing a little thing here and there, testing out a few things. And the life of a multi-eventer is not always long. Some can last longer than others. It's a grueling thing to do 7 or 10 events, the training, the amount of time you have to put to this. And if you're not a superstar, sometimes you don't get the support you need from the organizers of, not the organizers, you don't get the support from the sponsor and so on. I think Anna Hall is in a good position in terms of her financial thing, but no one really stays that long. For a while you start to break down, you get injuries, and she's had injuries really early right now in maybe what, in her second or third year as a professional athlete. And so can she get better? I guess it depends on the day, on the conditions, but I like what I'm seeing here. 7:32, I think there's more to go. I think she could probably get up to a 7:1 at best, maybe 7:9, but it would take some more PB performances over a few of these events there. But absolutely best performance of the week. Let me know your thoughts on the best performance of the week. I mean, maybe I've missed something. I try to watch everything as usual. Like I like to say, I'm inglorious. I'm inglorious discriminating when it comes to track and field. I watch anything. And yeah, lovely week for track and field. There's other standout performances that you could look at. I think what's her name? The Jamaican Akira Nugent did in the 100 meters, again showcasing her speed, and the 100 meter hurdles at Grand Slam. Very good performance there. She could have made it in my list as well, in terms of narrowing down my top 5 for the weekend. But I'm happy with this list. Maybe I've missed something. You let me know in the comments if I've missed anything. And yeah, let me see. I missed a couple comments here. Yeah, I did respond to the level thing. I think Brian will come good. I I guess, Unity Cup there. I guess Papin Boss was responding to Imran and so on. I didn't watch all of that stuff. I glanced at some of that stuff there, but yeah. But cool. Well, I was just doing a morning coffee live. Hopefully you guys will have a good, splendid day. I'll try to get back on the live soon. Lots of track and field this weekend too. The Rome Diamond League is on Friday. I think the Races Track thing, their event is on Saturday. I have a subscription for that, but now I'm being told that I may have to go to some event, so I'll see if I'll try to watch that as well. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to come on. Get in the comments, let me know where you're coming from. Let me know if you agree with my performances. Again, I'll give you the breakdown. 5, I had Paulino and Kung Fu Kenny. 4, I went with Nene from South Africa in his 400 meters. Number 3, I had Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. Fantastic 10:73, 21:9 in her 200 meter effort. Sander Skotheim from Norway, number 2 for me. Brilliant performance there, pushing him up on the all-time list there, joint with LePage from Canada. And then Anna Hall, by far the greatest performance of the weekend, only behind Jackie Joyner-Kersee, joint with Carolina Klüft. 7,032 points rather, over the women's heptathlon. If there's anything better than that this week, you let me know, but that is outstanding stuff. All right, it's been my pleasure hanging out with you guys. I'm not seeing any more things in the chat. Thank you for liking the video. And, you know, once we get off this live, feel free to put your stuff in the comments, and we will be at it again soon. You guys take care. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.